Looks like somebody's got a death wish. You're on
Dance for me.
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot has seen a still wildly unexpected degree of post-launch support following its initial 2020 release. 5 years after this single-player action RPG debuted, it has received several add-ons, including adaptations of select story materials such as Future Trunks' backstory, the 23rd World Tournament, and the final episode of the Dragon Ball Z anime. Now, the most recent and undeniably grandest of these supplements is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot Daima, Adventure Through the Demon Realm, adapting the recently concluded Daima anime series with a genuine surprise, given how new this slice of franchise is and the ambitious scope of the DLC. Spread across 2 parts in a brand new setting, Adventure Through the Demon Realm feels like a standalone experience, and this first half has me eager for what awaits when it concludes early next year.
One of the men bore a remarkable resemblance to you, Supreme Kai.
One of them looked like me.
I believe that they called him Degasu.
Degasu.
Somebody you know?
Degasu is the Supreme Kai's younger brother.
I didn't know you had a little brother.
Adventure Through the Demon Realm takes place after the Majin Buu arc of Dragon Ball Z, where inhabitants of the Demon Realm witness the main cast defeating Evil Buu. Their ruler, Demon King Goma, heads to Earth in search of the Dragon Balls, causing chaos that turns Goku and his friends into kids. To set things right and stop the oppression plaguing the Demon Realm, Goku teams up with a younger version of the Kai Shin alongside newcomers Glorio and Ponzi. The premise, scenery, and overall tone immediately evoked the original Dragon Ball. Traversing this vast land on foot with flight disabled captures the whimsical sense of exploration that defined those early arcs. For transparency, I haven't watched the Daima anime, so I can't really judge fidelity, but even from a player's perspective, the Demon Realm feels distinct from every other area in the game. Story-wise, the DLC excels at naturally introducing its new faces. Glorio, a stern and enigmatic guide, leads the search for the realm's Dragon Balls, while Ponzi, an upbeat demon youth, wants to end Goma's tyranny. Both characters reinforce Daima's identity and establish fresh dynamics with Goku that you don't often see elsewhere. I especially enjoyed their chatter as you wander around. Casual banter about everything from the central conflict to random observations turn this party into an endearing crew. The overarching plot just boils down to a Dragon Ball style MacGuffin hunt. On its own, that framework isn't thrilling, but the additional lore it adds to the wider universe kept me invested. If you mainly come for the Z or Super, the stakes here might feel modest, yet world-building fans should find plenty to love. Despite its pacing quirks and straightforward combat, Kakarot does nail the fantasy of living in the Dragon Ball world through sheer skill. That design philosophy returns here, perhaps even more so, because Goku is a kid again, he loses high-tier powers and, crucially, the ability to fly, making terrestrial exploration the real star.
I found something yummy.
I bet we can cook something up with this.
There's a Sky Seed platform.
In the base game, airborne collectibles felt like ground items floating in space. Now, with flight removed, every orb, quest, and side activity demands proper legwork, essentially turning simple pickups into meaningful treks. A few floating islands do appear, but reaching them still begins on the ground, reinforcing that sense of classic adventure. Mechanically, everything works as you remember. Gathering orbs, tackling training missions, fish for ingredients, cook stat boosting mills, clash with random foes, and accept side quests from villagers. New raid-style battles pitch you and your party against waves of enemies, essentially dialing up the power fantasy. I'd forgotten how cathartic Kakarot's fights can be. Inputs remain simple, yet sharp camera cuts, crunchy sound design, and flashy specials keep bouts from feeling repetitive. The last couple of bosses hit surprisingly hard if you skip side content, pushing you to engage with the DLC systems. Shin and Glorio also help you in battle. Both characters have their own skill trees and on-command abilities. Shin's healing saved my hide more than once, adding welcome layers to the otherwise straightforward scraps. Unfortunately though, this first half ends just as the narrative finds its footing. The production values are impressive, from lavish cutscenes to full voice work, but the story stops short of a satisfying payoff. Being forced to wait until next year for part 2 will test some players' patience. Post-credit content does offer extra challenge and collectibles, yet I can't shake the feeling that the package would feel more complete if both halves launched together, even if that meant waiting a little longer. I also encountered an odd audio bug where certain cutscene effects like Goku's Super Saiyan transformation played in silence. It might be an isolated issue, but it broke immersion more than once. To be completely honest, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot Daima Adventure Through the Demon Realm is one of the most memorable and worthwhile pieces of DLC that I've ever played. Its exciting battles, meticulous cinematics, rich story content, and fresh narrative threads make revisiting a 5-year-old game feel new again, even for someone unfamiliar with the Daima anime. The decision to split the content does the experience no favors though, essentially trimming what could have been a robust 20+ hour journey into a brisk 10-hour romp. Even so, longtime Kakarot players and Dragon Ball fans should give this DLC a look. It feels like a sincere celebration of a new chapter in the Dragon Ball saga, and I'm already counting the days until part 2 lands. Noisy Pixel is giving Dragon Ball Z Kakarot Daima Adventure Through the Demon Realm an 8.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by your supporters on Patreon. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Check out our Patreon to help support our continued growth, and subscribe to keep up with all our featured content.
Noisy Pixel.